I really love when you film a whole video and then you realize it's out of focus and you have to film it again. Here we go. Hi there friends, and welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you have been here with me for a while. Today I'm going to be sharing some spring favorites of some things that I've been enjoying thus far in 2019. I haven't been doing monthly favorites for a while, so I thought I would do a roundup. Let me know if you prefer kind of seasonal favorites to monthly favorites, because I'm trying to decide what I want to do from here on out going forward. But today I've got a lot of entertainment-y stuff for you. Books, musicals, movies, albums, and then also some like makeup and hair care and some clothes as well, and a couple of apps. So I will try and get through all of it in a timely fashion so that this video isn't too long, but just bear with me. Also bear with me because I'm filming this in automatic focus because my manual focus got messed up and now I'm nervous, so hopefully this video is in focus this time. I thought that I would start with 3 books that I've really been loving. Most of my time this spring has been dedicated to reading Mansfield Park, which I'm almost done with. It's been a bit of a slog. I love Jane Austen, don't get me wrong, but I can't stand Fanny Price. So the one thing that I really have enjoyed reading this year thus far is the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series. You might know it because of the Netflix film based on the first book, which is one of my favorite movies, honestly, one of my favorite things that came out last year. I've probably watched it a dozen times. I'm literally right now like, maybe I'll watch it after this. It's a really lovely story about a girl in high school named Laura Jean who has an older sister and a younger sister, and it's about how she ends up fake dating like the school jock, Peter Kavinsky. And it's just a really lovely like coming of age tale, but also a really lovely teen romance. It is probably my favorite high school movie, and I love it a lot. So for Christmas, I got the first book in the series, which is by Jenny Han, and I am in love with it. Points for like representation for, well, I guess Laura Jean is mixed race because she's half Asian, which is really cool, but also points for like stories about sisters. I love anything about sisters, and like it will make me cry, and I did cry in every single one of these books, cried on the subway many times reading them, but I just love them so much. The first one is called To All the Boys I Loved Before. The second one is that's not the second one, that's the third one. The second one is P.S. I Still Love You, which they are making into a movie for Netflix now, and I'm very excited because Jordan Fisher has come on to play one of my favorite characters in the whole series, John Ambrose. Yes, it's probably not that surprising that I prefer John Ambrose to Peter Kavinsky, but highly recommend this one as well. And then the last one in the series is called Always and Forever, Laura Jean. I do think that the first one is the best book, but they're all really lovely. And I also appreciate the third one because Laura Jean's family lives in Virginia, and in the last one it's kind of about her senior year and her deciding about colleges, and she goes to tour UNC Chapel Hill, which isn't that far from where I grew up in North Carolina, so that made me happy. Next, I want to talk about a couple of makeup items, both of which are very sparkly, which is not all that indicative of my taste in makeup usually, but I have this Foiled Again foil eyeshadow by The Balm in Red Handed, which is this little sparkly eyeshadow. You can kind of see it here, kind of. It's like a sparkly neutral color. I'm really fond of it. I don't typically wear sparkly eyeshadow, but this one I just really like. It's just a bit of like glitter. It's subtle, but it's in a really nice color, kind of similar to what I would normally wear. So very fond of this one. The other thing is a highlighter. Both of these I got in my Ipsy, which is a makeup subscription, and this is a highlighter by Ofra. Oh my god, it's called Rodeo Drive. I didn't realize that before. I really like the packaging. I really love the color. It's like a champagne-y gold color. And it's just a nice pop of highlight. It's not really overpowering, like it's not super apparent, but it does kind of help highlight your cheekbones. So I'm very fond of that, and it's a good size for like a brush to get into. Am I in focus? I'm so nervous now about being in focus. Couple of hair items. One is this hair ribbon. I can't remember where this is from. I don't know if this is one of the ribbons from my Jo Malone bag. I don't think it is. It's from somewhere, but I'm really fond of it. I think it did come off of some sort of package, but I've been wearing it in my hair pretty much constantly. I like to wear it whenever I pull my hair half up. I like to keep it in my bag whenever I go to work too. That way if I end up pulling my hair up, it just makes me feel a little bit more put together to have the ribbon in there. It's not everyone's taste, but I really love it. So like Pro tip, just steal ribbons where you can that are like this, that are long enough, and they're really cute in your hair. The hair care item that I have, though, comes from my first FabFitFun box. I got FabFitFun starting with this past spring box. I am getting the summer one, and I'm very excited. Let me know if you have any interest in seeing like a review or an unboxing or anything like that. If you don't know FabFitFun, it is like a subscription box service. Each box is worth about $200, but they cost about $50, and it is done seasonally, so there's 4 boxes a year, and I'm really enjoying it thus far. I really like it. I may have some sort of discount code or something if you're interested in getting it, so do let me know in the comments down below. And I would love to hear if anybody else is subscribed to it, but this is the Way Hair Care, a brand that I love, leave-in conditioner. So essentially once you get out of the shower and your hair is still wet, you spritz it on, and it just makes my hair really like silky and smooth and soft, and it also smells fantastic. Like, it's so nice. I would wear this scent as a perfume, and I don't know that it's like really doing that much, but I feel like I am noticing a little bit of a difference, and I love it a lot. The next thing I want to talk about are I've gotten 2 new perfumes. In January, I went to London for my graduation, and for my graduation present, my Aunt Kathy gave me money to buy a Jo Malone perfume, and I ended up actually, instead of buying one of the big ones, buying 2 of the smaller sizes so that then I can layer the scents whenever I want. So I've been wearing them layered, wearing them by themselves, and I'm really in love with both of them. I love Jo Malone. This is my first Jo Malone purchase, which I've been wanting to make for a while, and I'm really thrilled with both of them. I love the packaging, I love the whole Jo Malone experience and the whole idea, and I love the scents. I definitely see more Jo Malone in my future. But the 2 that I got are Wild Bluebell, which is a really nice floral scent. It's a bit of a deep scent, if that makes sense. I don't want to say it's musky per se, but it's really nice. And then I also got Peony and Blush Suede, which might be my favorite scent I've ever had. It's really lovely. I'm really bad at describing scents, so I'm just gonna let other people do that. You can look these up if you want. But I really love both of these, and I'm super, super happy and grateful to have them. So that I can break up kind of the stuff that I don't have things to show you for and the actual items, I'm going to talk about movies next before I move on to clothes. As far as movies go, I have been pretty much all Marvel all the time this spring. My sister Hannah is quite into the MCU, and so I've kind of been getting into it more to, you know, be able to bond with her over it. My parents are watching them as well, and it's become like a fun family thing that we do, which is really nice. I am a big Captain America fan. Cap is my favorite. I love Bucky Barnes. I love Peggy Carter. Obviously, like, I have a history degree. Cap is my fave. I love Chris Evans a lot. Like a lot. I have been watching some that I had never seen before that I had missed when they originally came out, and then have been obviously seeing a couple of new ones. I finally watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I loved it so much. It's such a good, like, coming of age movie, like even more than a superhero film. And Tom Holland, my son Tom Holland, is like the cutest individual on this planet. I just want to ask him if he takes vitamins. I also watched Captain America Civil War for the first time, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies now. I think it's so good. Really enjoyed that one. I'm going to see Captain Marvel, of course. I think it's so great, so amazing. I love Captain Marvel as a character. Love Nick Fury in it. The technology in it is really cool too, like the special effects. Loved that. Brie Larson is a queen, and I really appreciated what she did trying to get like more women journalists and journalists of color in to talk about the movie and do interviews and reviews and everything. I thought that was super admirable. And it's really great to see a movie that's been so empowering for young girls and like my younger sister and for me. And there's so much in the movie that just kind of corresponds with what we as women go through, even though we're not superheroes, that I thought that was a really cool thing. And I'm very excited to see more Captain Marvel going forward in the MCU. And speaking of going forward, we've kind of had our last one of the Marvel as we know it, I guess. Avengers Endgame came out. I've seen it twice. Saw it opening night, which was probably the coolest cinematic experience I've ever had. Everyone was cheering and clapping and yelling, and it was such a communal experience that, like, I'll never forget that. I also, like, cried my entire water content of my body out. And then I went back and saw it again in Dolby. If you can see it in Dolby, I highly recommend it with all this like sound effects in the film and how amazing the score of the film is. It's really worth it just for the sound, not even for the picture quality. But I loved Endgame. I know not everyone did. I thought it was fantastic. Obviously, as a Cap fangirl, I was really happy. I cried my eyes out. I want to watch it again like right now. I would watch it every day if I could. And the one non-Marvel film that I want to talk about actually is produced and starred in by a Marvel girl, Tessa Thompson. And it's the film Little Woods. I went to see it because it has Tessa Thompson and Lily James in it, and it's directed by a woman, which I try to support any film, you know, directed by a woman. And it's fantastic. It's a film about these two sisters, one of whom is like at the end of her probation for having smuggled drugs. And illegally sold drugs, like oxycodone, that sort of thing. And they live in, I want to say, North Dakota. And it's really some career best performances from both Tessa Thompson and Lily James. And it's a really interesting movie. And if it's anywhere around you, I highly recommend checking it out. Going into clothes, the first thing is the shirt that I'm wearing. Everything I'm going to show you is from American Eagle. I'm not sponsored by American Eagle. I wish I was sponsored by American Eagle. If you're watching this, American Eagle, hit me up. But I love this shirt. It is really soft, really comfy, but I love button downs, especially ones that like tuck in nicely to pants or shorts or skirts. And this one is kind of perfect. It's in that nice area of like, not too casual, still put together, but still really comfy. And I foresee myself wearing it all the time this summer. I actually like it so much that I got it in a different color. I also got it in the pink with the white stripe. This is like one of my favorite colors, so I'm very excited. I mean, it is my favorite color, so I'm very excited about this one as well. And they're just so soft. They were buy one, get one half off whenever I bought them, but they're from American Eagle, so they weren't that expensive to begin with. I went in there because I was shopping with my sister, I think. But I just love American Eagle. Like, they have such nice stuff in there, and especially good stuff for like a spring summer aesthetic. So highly recommend checking them out if you haven't been in a while. But I love these. And then the next thing I want to show you is my new jean shorts, which I'm wearing, but I don't know if, yeah, I can't really show you here. I filmed a clip for you. But they are exactly what I've been looking for the past like 2 years, and I finally found them. They're like a high-waisted mom short-y fit, kind of vintage looking, and they're so comfortable, but they're a nice length too. Like they're pretty modest. I feel like I can wear them into the office because I work in a fairly casual office with like a nice shirt and not feel like I'm showing too much. And I love them so much. They weren't very expensive. I've been looking for something like this, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna find them at something like And Other Stories or Madewell where they're gonna be very expensive, but these weren't, which is great. And then the last thing is what I call my Mamma Mia pants, because they're like flowy floral pants. These, I guess they're technically culottes, maybe? They are flowy, comfortable, elasticated waistband pants with this floral and black background, which is kind of my favorite thing ever. I love wearing them with t-shirts tucked in, button-down shirts tucked in, like whatever. Every time I wear these to the office, I get tons of compliments, which is always nice. And again, because they're from American Eagle, they weren't super expensive. So I'm very in love with these. I'm honestly thinking about seeing if American Eagle has them in a different color as well, or pattern, because they're so comfortable and I love them so much. Next up, I'm going to talk about a couple of cast albums that I've been listening to nonstop. The first one is the Heathers album, finally came out, and I've been listening to it all the time. Surprise, surprise. It is the West End Productions album starring Carrie Hope Fletcher, whom I love, and the whole cast is great. If you were familiar with Heathers Off-Broadway, there's some changes and updates. There's a couple of new songs. Highly recommend checking it out. It is on Spotify, and I love it. The next one is the Company West End cast recording, which I'm in love with. If you follow me on social media, you'll probably know that I saw Company a couple of times in January when I was in London, and this production is stunning. If you're familiar with Company, having been on Broadway and in the West End before, this is a new production and it is gender flipped. Bobby is now a woman, played by the insane Rosalie Craig, who is so, so good. The whole cast is just stellar. Johnny Bailey is fantastic in it as Jamie, the character who was once Amy, and I love it so much. I love this album so much, and obviously also like living in New York, it's fun to listen to an album that's set in New York. The last album that I want to talk about is The Clockmaker's Daughter. It's not a concept album because it's the full show, but it's not like from a specific production. It's kind of the cast just came together to make the album. The cast is insane. Frothy, Ramin Karimloo, Christine Alado, I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but it's a really lovely story. I would describe it as kind of having like an Irish Disney fairy tale sound. Really lovely, would highly recommend checking it out. And if you are in London, as sadly I am not, they are doing a concert of it at Cadogan Hall coming up, so definitely check that out. Someone please go and tell me how it is. Next, I'm going to talk about 3 shows that I've seen, 1 tour, 1 original Broadway musical, and 1 revival. The tour is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I was a huge Percy Jackson nerd growing up, loved the books, loved Greek mythology, had my heart broken by how bad the movies are, and this musical was like it cleansed me from the movies, and now I literally have my first Percy Jackson book, The Lightning Thief, here to reread. I didn't get to see it whenever it was here off-Broadway, but I caught the tour whenever it came through New York, so see if it's coming anywhere near you. It is perfect. It's such a loving adaptation of The Lightning Thief, and the cast are just insanely great. Like, whenever they first announced it, I was like, well, I want Chris McCarroll to play Percy Jackson. And then they literally cast Chris McCarroll as Percy Jackson, and I was like, oh, amazing. So I knew that I had to go see it, and it honestly was one of the like best theater experiences I've had in a long time. It's so good. I love the album. It's on Spotify. Definitely check it out. There's this song called Good Kid that Chris McCarroll sings as Percy, and it's so good. Like, I can't praise it enough. I will link my blog post down below that gives you some more like concrete details about it if you're interested, but it's so good. If you are subscribed to my channel, you may have seen my Hadestown review. If not, I'll link it down below, but I went to see Hadestown finally. Hadestown is sweeping Broadway right now. It's got 14 Tony nominations. I'm sure you'll be hearing Hadestown a lot on Tony Awards night. Knock on wood, I hope I've not just jinxed that, but it is so good. It is amazing to see a musical on Broadway that is written and directed by women. Eva Noblezada and Amber Gray and Patrick Page and the whole cast are just phenomenal. And if you don't know, it's about the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, and it's so good. Like, it's so unlike anything I've ever seen before, and the music is fantastic. It's kind of got a folky vibe to it, not like anything else on Broadway right now. And if you're in the area, it is the #1 thing that I suggest that you try and see. To counter that, if you are in New York before July 7th, I highly recommend checking out the Lincoln Center revival of My Fair Lady. It is going to be closing in July after having been open for, I guess, about a year and a half now, so it's made it a long time. This My Fair Lady revival is really important to me. I saw it in February and I saw it again last night, and it takes an older show that I had always felt, I had always kind of had issues with the ending of My Fair Lady. I felt like maybe Eliza doesn't have enough agency in it, and this production fixed everything. It is such a stellar production. Harry Haddon Patton is so good as Henry Higgins. You might know him from The Crown or from Downton Abbey. He's a fantastic actor and also a really lovely singer. And Laura Benanti, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know is one of my all-time favorites, and she is a revelation as Eliza Doolittle. Her Eliza is so important to me and very much what I needed to see this week after everything that has been going on with women's rights in the US. And this production is just so good. It's so beautiful. There's nothing like the Lincoln Center. I got to see it from the second row last night. If you are under the age of, I can't remember if it's 35 or 30, you can get LinkTix, which are $35 discount tickets. And so I paid $35 to sit in the second row last night and really feel like a part of it because it's like a semi-thrusted stage. And there's nothing like these sets. Like, they're huge, they're gorgeous, they're so detailed, and the cast is incredible. Like, I think that everyone should see a production at the Lincoln Center at some point in their life if they can, and this My Fair Lady one is just stellar. I've been listening to the album, and I just love it so much. I am thinking about going to see it a third time before it closes. So the last 2 things that I want to talk to you about before I end this long video are 2 apps. One of which is Spotify. I know everyone else has been using Spotify for years, but I finally got Spotify. Like, I had an account, but I didn't use it much. And this spring I decided that it was time to actually curate a taste in music beyond Taylor Swift and cast albums, because that's pretty much all I listen to. And I've been getting some suggestions from friends. I've been listening to a lot of like Passenger, Mumford & Sons, the Avett Brothers, the Lumineers, Mipso, like that sort of thing. I've discovered I really like kind of like indie folk rock, that sort of genre. I'm never really quite sure what to call it, but I have been using Spotify a lot and really like it. If you have music suggestions kind of in that realm, do let me know, because I'm always looking for more bands and artists to listen to as I try and curate a taste in music. But if you don't have Spotify, do check it out. Although I do still buy a lot of albums, because I'm a big believer in buying music to support artists. So especially cast albums and that sort of stuff, or newer up and coming artists, I like to make sure that I actually buy from them to help support them. And the last thing is a app food service thing called MealPal, which I've been using. It's a really cool thing in that you pay for like a certain amount of meals up front. So I've been doing 12 a month, which works out to about 3 a week. And then the day before, the morning of, you go onto the app and you pick what you want for that lunch or dinner. I'm doing the lunch option because there's a lot of places that do it around where I work. And it works out to about $6 a meal, which in New York, especially in Midtown Manhattan where I work, is a huge savings. I'm used to not being able to find lunch for less than like $10 to $15. And so it's really cut down on costs for me, which is awesome. And it's forced me to try a lot of like cool new restaurants, a lot of independent restaurants that I might not have gone into anyways, if I didn't have it. And you just go on and you pick, like each restaurant has like one offering of what you can get there, like one of their meals. But it's been really cool. I've discovered some really cool places. It's saved me a lot of time and money, because you just have to walk in and like scan the thing on the app and they give you your food. So highly recommend it. They have it in a lot of different cities, like I know New York, London, LA, Chicago, I think Paris, and a couple of other places across the US. So definitely check it out. And I might also have like a referral code or something if anyone's interested. So those are my favorites for the spring, or like 2019 thus far. Let me know what you guys have been loving. I would love to have a conversation in the comments down below, especially if anyone wants to talk about Endgame. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, because that really helps me out with the algorithm and also makes my day. And subscribe to my channel if you're new and you want more content. I typically do very theatery videos. I have a room tour coming up as well, some other cool stuff, so it might be fun to stick around. But otherwise, I hope that you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!